Okay, so the next thing I just want to do is I want to clean up the curve on that top link there. So with that link selected, I've selected rotate Z, and then I'm just going to hit F. Now, one of the things that you'll notice with the first and last frame, the tangent handles are different lengths. I want them to be the same length. Otherwise, this is going to cause problems when we start to copy and paste and make this a cycle. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to region select around the bottom two keys, and then up here where it says auto tangents, I'm just going to select that, and you'll notice that it's actually made it so that they're both the same length on each side of the key. Now make sure that you're in move mode. Hotkey is just W, and then region select around the tangent handle, and then just pull that out. Region select around it and pull that out, and making sure that both sides of the knot are the same. Knot is this little key here, okay, the little dot. Excellent. Now that we've done that, what we're going to do is we're going to copy and paste the animation in the dope sheet. So I'm going to region select around the animation in the dope sheet here. Actually, that's interesting. That is set at frame 16. That should be at frame 15. That could cause some problems. All right, great. And we're going to, down the bottom here in the timeline, you'll see that we've got these two fields. This one over here, I'm just going to type in a value of 300. That's going to increase the timeline, the last frame on the timeline. But you'll notice that it hasn't actually updated. What I need to do is I need to drag the slider all the way over to see 300 frames, okay, which is 10 seconds. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to copy and paste this animation in the dope sheet. To move side to side in the dope sheet, I'm holding down the middle mouse button and the Alt key. So the Alt key and then the middle mouse button, doing the same thing for the graph editor there. I'm going to region select around this animation here, and I'm going to go to the last frame. Zoom in there on the animation, and I'm going to, in the dope sheet with the animation selected, I'm going to say copy. Now one of the things that I want us to do first is I want us to see how it's going to paste it. So if I hit paste now, let's just have a look. That's not too bad, but I just want to double check something. I'm going to undo that. Okay, first off, go into edit in the dope sheet, and then instead of hitting paste, go over here to the menu box and select the menu box, and that will bring up the key paste options. At the moment it should be set to current, which means that whatever frame I'm currently on in the timeline I'm slided to, it's going to paste it to that frame. You don't want it to start, you don't want it to start end or clipboard, you want it to current. The other thing which is interesting is that at the moment this is on connect. So it's inserting, it's preserving the animation, it's inserting, and it's connecting. The problem with connect, and it's not a big problem, is that if the last frame, let's say, you don't have to do this, let's say that the last frame is not the same as the first frame, and I go and paste, and I now copy this, copy it, and then I paste. What it does is it pastes it relative to the position of the last frame, and exponentially this will just keep on moving down in this sort of direction all the way down there. We actually want it to stay constant, so it's important that the first and last frame are exactly the same. So I'm going to double check that now, and one way that I can do it is I'll just go to the first frame, select this knot here, I'm going to copy this value. So I've left mouse click and I've selected that value, and then I'm hitting Control C, and then I'm going to go to the last frame here, and it's actually off by a little bit. It's off by a degree. That can cause a problem. So I'm going to I'm just going to select in that field, left mouse click, select all of those, and then just hit Control V, paste, and then hit enter. And what that's done is it's made it so that the first and last frame are exactly the same. Okay. Another way that I could have avoided that issue is, well, actually that's probably the best. That is the best way of doing it. So make sure that you've got the very first and last frame exactly the same. Then I'm going to region select around in the dope sheet with that link selected, go into edit copy, and then I'm going to just go into edit paste again, and I'm going to say preserve, insert, and let's just say connect. Okay, we'll do that, and then say paste key. Now make sure that you have your curve editor open so that you can see that the animation is appending itself correctly to the previous cycle. I need to do this 10 times, so I've done it twice. I'm going to select all of it again. I'm going to say copy. I'm going to go to the last frame. Now if you can't get to the last frame in your dope sheet, you just need to open it up by adjusting the time slider. Go to the last frame, make sure that you're on there, and then just say paste. And keeping an eye on this, make sure that I'm just holding down the middle mouse wheel, wheeling in and out, and using the Alt key. I'll do the same thing, hold down the Alt key, middle mouse click to scroll on over, and I'm just going to open this all the way up to the last frame, and then I can just, in the dope sheet, I'm just going to hit paste, and then I'll go to the last frame, hit paste again, open this up, going to open it all the way up to 300. Make sure that you select the last frame because that's important, hit paste, and that's it. And so 10 cycles that should, when 10 cycles should swing 20 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. That's it. And that'll be at 291. Okay? So the next thing we're going to do is we want this to decrease in amplitude with every swing, but not in frequency. So we want the frequency to stay the same, meaning that the time in which it actually makes it to the other side of its swing, we're not going to reduce that. So I'm just going to, in the curve editor, I'm going to region select around the rotation Z curve, and then I'm just going to hit F. And what that does is it makes it nice and large. I'm going to actually extend the size of the graph editor so that it's nice and large, and then hit F again if you need to. And what we're going to do is exponentially, we're just going to reduce this one. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select this last knot here, this last key, and I want that to be 0 because remember 0 is where when it's rotated straight down. So I'm going to select that, and I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to type in 0, and that will put that knot there. Now that's where we're heading towards. So we're going from all the way down here down to this point, and the same thing with this side here. So one of the tricks to make sure that you're in W mode or move mode is that I don't want to move the time in which it's where that key is positioned. So I'm just going to undo that. So a trick is if I hold down Shift and then move it up and down, I can move it up and down, but it's locked. I can't move it side to side. Or alternatively, if I hold down Shift and I start moving it side to side, I now can't move it up and down. So what it does is it locks it in place, either the altitude or the location in time, depending on which way you start to move your mouse first. So in this case, by holding down Shift and moving it up and down, it's going to stay on that frame. And then just start to block in. I like to start at the end. And you just want these to decrease in scale. And I start at the end and I kind of work my way back and then go to the front and see if I can make this work. And that's feeling It's looking pretty good. And then I'll do the same thing, going back the other way. Okay, well, we'll just move this one up as well. Now I'm not worried too much about the animation yet. I'm really just blocking this in. And you want it to have somewhat of a straight line going from one end to the other, so that all the tops of these swings let's just have a look. We'll play that, see how that feels. And it might take a little bit of finessing. Yeah, you can see there that at the end it's starting to stick in certain places, and that swing there is probably just too great. So I'm just going to go to that last swing and reduce the amplitude. To zoom in on this area, if I select, region select by left mouse click and make a rectangle around that area, and then selecting those knots, hit F, it will zoom in on that problem area. Then deselect out of it, and then I can start to select these tangent handles and reduce the length of those tangent handles as well in some of these areas. And this last swing here should be super small. Okay, and this one here can be a little bit larger. But also what I'll need to do is fix the tangent handles. It's interesting that, you know, after copying and pasting, it's put these tangent handles on a little bit of, oops, sorry, got to make sure I hit shift before starting to move any of these. And I'll bring this one down. Okay. If you have any problems with any of these, especially the ones at the tail end down here, you could just region select around these and then just hit auto tangent, and that won't affect the performance of these last swings too much. But you probably want to keep, oops, you probably want to keep the weight on the first couple of swings at least. And then every so often just go back in and check and make sure, and you can if you just want to check like the last couple of swings, you can drag the slider over here and then just see how that feels. So that's the great thing about this, is that you can really just start to focus on certain parts of your performance, and that's feeling pretty good. Okay, cool, that's just the last bit. And let's just have a look at the first bit. So I'm just going to drag this slider through to 140 and just see how that feels. It's pretty good, except there's some irregular swinging in this area here. So I'm just going to region select around this area, and then I'm going to hit F. And let's just have a look at these tangent handles. They might just need a little bit of love. But the most important thing is really to make sure that the amplitude is correct. Okay, so this is going to take just a little bit of time. Now it's really important for us to get this stage right, because all we're going to do is we're going to copy and paste this animation onto the other links. We don't have to go in and do this for every link. We just have to get this right for the first one. These ones here, actually, I'm going to select those ones and just make those auto tangents just for now. But these ones here, I'm going to leave that weight on. Okay, and let's just have a look at this. We'll just play that. That's feeling pretty good. I'm going to minimize the amount of swing on one of these, just in this area here. Just region select around them, hit F. Let's just go in there, and I think it might be this one here. Oops. Region select around the tangent handle. Just going to pull those in just a little bit. That one there. It's not too bad. Drag that one down a little bit. Anyway, you get the idea of what we're going for. Oops. Control Z to undo. That one there is interesting. Don't know why that's looking like that. Might just unify that one as well. And then once you're happy with the way it all looks, then double check and make sure that it feels good in the swing. Okay, so we just want it to reduce all the way down to nothing. Yeah, just on there it's starting to feel a little weird. Just a little muddy. Muddy means it's stuck, it's sticking, slowing down. It feels like, it's just in this area right here. So if I just hit F, let's just see if there's any anomalies there that we can detect. And it might just be the way in which it could just be this one. Anyway, so keep going with that and making sure that that chain has, yeah, that's feeling a lot better. Has decreased, make sure that your chain has decreased amplitude with each swing. And then after you've done that, save it out. Okay, call it something unique so that we can, if anything goes wrong, we can come back to it later. Okay, great.